to the podcast for the first... Well, actually, this is not the first time I've done a podcast over Skype. I used to just do this every single week.
I was going to say, this is kind of normal for you, or at least a throwback to the beginnings of your internet podcasting career.
Well, yes, but you're not Kevin, and you're not Nick. You're John, and I'm Jeff, and that means it's time for the Rage Select podcast. Here on
Yes.
So yes, we are socially distanced. We are recording for each other's homes. John, I had an amazing idea this week.
What's that?
So we've been doing these. I keep wanting to calling it the remote dojo, but it's not that. It's dojo.
It's
remoto.
a dojo remoto.
It's the dojo remoto. So we did the dojo remoto, and then I was thinking, like, wait a minute. Everybody that I know is a podcaster. They've all got an internet connection. They've all got Discord. They've all got microphones. What if we did a dojo with like you and me and Amanda and Michael and Matt and Jason Murphy and Grant and Brian Brushwood, everybody named Brian in Austin, some of the fans. I mean, we could just have like 40 people on one dojo and it would be unintelligible.
Is that how we're going to do the next Ragecast?
Yes, just all remote. Just totally remote.
All remote.
Yes, that's right. We're all just going to be sitting in our houses, drinking and playing Rage Select. So, except that that we passed the date. Like by the time this comes out, Final Fantasy VII will be out, and like there isn't anything else big this month. I mean, what am I going to do? Put 20 people on Predator? That's not a thing. That's not even a thing.
Yeah.
So anyway,
should have had that idea sooner, Jeff. Get on the ball. Get on the ball.
I should have been thinking about social distancing a year ago. I had been social distancing.
I mean,
way before
when it comes to
cool.
you, I've been thinking about social distancing for at least 3 years.
Yes. I missed you, John. What have you been up to? I haven't talked to you in a few weeks. What have you been up to recently?
My job surprisingly got double busy because of everything, and I still work from home, which I worked from home previously. Let's see. I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing.
Okay.
As people who follow me on Twitter and Facebook will see, I've been posting pictures from my Animal Crossing.
Does Animal Crossing have a built-in like capture app, or are you just like...
No, it uses the same button, but it actually has like a photo thing because everything you do is through a phone, so it's like a phone app.
Okay.
But it's still like to take the picture. Like you're just using the camera app to set up the position of the camera, and then you still take the picture with the share button.
Okay. So lots of Animal Crossing. It sounds a lot like you're in the same position that I was when it comes to this whole like, you got to stay home. And you're like, I already did. And like, you got to watch Netflix. You're like, I already did.
Yeah, I haven't watched very much Netflix, I'll be honest. No Tiger King, no, no. Like it's strange. Like everyone's all like, oh, all these movies that I've been watching or all these video games that I've been playing, and I'm just like, no. I'm going to be honest. Work is because of how busy it is. It's just like mentally drained me, and the most I can bring myself to do is play Animal Crossing.
It's like chop down trees and get like apples and pay Tom Nook and stuff.
It's mind-numbingly simple stuff that is still somehow entertaining.
Wait a minute, John. Wait a minute. Are you telling me that you haven't already preloaded and pre-installed Final Fantasy VII? We are recording this the day before Final Fantasy VII comes out, and are you telling me you're not psyched? Because I swear, for the last 2 years, you've just been nonstop talking about Final Fantasy VII.
I know. It's something I've been looking forward to since the game was originally released.
Yes.
I was like, you know what? Back when it was on the PlayStation, the original PlayStation, when Final Fantasy VII came out, my friends were all like, "Oh, dude, you got to play this game." I was like, I played it, but I can't wait until they remaster it.
I like the idea.
Then it's going to be really good.
I like the idea of teenage John finishing PlayStation 1 Final Fantasy VII to be like, that was pretty good. Probably could use a remaster. But it's like, what's a remaster? You're like, shh. You'll find out.
You'll find out later.
Yeah. Wait until the 10th generation of consoles, and then you'll find out.
Yeah. No, dude, I haven't even played Resident Evil 3.
What?
I haven't even played the DLC for Control yet.
What?
I am. Yeah.
You just hunker down to that Animal Crossing life.
I am very hunkered down. Like I feel like there's stuff that I have done, but I couldn't tell you what it is.
Okay. All right. So the days just blur together into one big smear until it's all the same. It's all exactly the same.
I still thought it was February.
You know what I forgot about is as if we're recording this. Let's see, what day was it? It'll be like by the time this comes out, it'll be like 3 or 4 days until my birthday, and I'm just like, how
old you gonna be, Jeff? 60?
43, I think.
I overshot.
Yeah. You know what? And I got a bone to pick because goddamn Cyberpunk was supposed to come out on my birthday this year.
That's right.
And then it did.
That's right.
And now there's nothing.
You got
nothing.
You got the pandemic instead.
It was even before the pandemic. God damn it. Well, I have been watching a shitload of, or actually, when I say a shitload, I mean season 1 of Beastars on Netflix.
Yeah, I've heard that's the anime that's all animals and stuff, right?
It's so weird. Yeah, it's like if Zootopia was some kind of fucked up high school anime. Like I don't normally go for slice of life, but like they've got that whole like the carnivores and the herbivores and their uneasy relationships between the two of them, and it's really pretty too. It's like it's super. I didn't realize it was CGI, that it's not 2D animated, and then it's got like a stop motion intro. I don't know. It's really crazy, and 20-minute episodes of anything you kind of get through. But like, yeah, it's really strangely compelling. There's a lot of sexual content. There's some drug use. It's relatively violent, and all of this I'm like, oh, it's like Zootopia if it had like all the normal anime sex and violence and even drugs. And by drugs, I mean blood. So, yeah.
So wait, what? The drugs are made of blood?
Yeah, the whole premise of the show is that they live in this like Zootopia world, and the whole thing is that no carnivores can ever eat meat. Like they just can't. It's against the law essentially to eat meat. So like the premise in the beginning is that the gray wolf that I'm sure everybody's seen in the thumbnail like sees that rabbit and just like kind of fucking goes nuts. And so it's this really interesting question of like, is he into her? Does he want to kill her and eat her? Is it a little bit of both? If so, how much of which hand is which? And yeah, it's a really
it's your normal teenage love story,
right? Exactly. Yeah, okay. Boy meets girl, boy eats girl, boy eats girl. There we go. I did it. Yeah. I got it in 2 steps.
Yeah, nice. I did. You know what? I did remember something I did do.
Mm-hmm.
I rewatched one of my favorite movies, Conspiracy Theory.
The Mel Gibson one?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a surprisingly really good movie.
I think I watched that once like a million years ago, and I haven't.
Oh man, I love that movie. It's so good.
I haven't seen it since, but I don't know. You know what? No shortage of anything. I've been starting to watch, I will start to watch a franchise. I'll be like, I'm going to rewatch Star Trek, and then I get 3 episodes in, and I'm like, that's right, Star Trek doesn't get good until season 2. Damn.
Yeah, I've been on the verge of like right now. I'm still got a few more Kamen Rider shows to get through, but I've been eyeing this complete series box set of the TV show Due South that I bought on a whim as kind of a joke.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm kind of wanting to rewatch all of Due South.
Is that the one where the guy goes to Canada?
No, it's where the guy's from Canada and he comes to New York, and then he partners up with a New York police detective.
Oh, it's like a
he's
Mountie.
From Canada. Yeah, he's a Mountie from Canada in New York, and it's so strange and comical on how different people from Canada are from the U.S.
What? Crazy. They do things slightly differently than we do.
Yeah. And then like they solve crimes. And then in one season they change the main actor and then actually write a plot point on why it's a different actor as that character that lasts till the end of the series. It's weird. It's one of those shows that I watched a lot on TNT back when TNT was just re-airing the shit out of it, and I kind of fell in love with it. And then I saw it for like $20 at like Fry's or something, like complete series on DVD, and I was like, I'm gonna buy this. And then I've never watched it since I bought it. And the other day I was just eyeing it, going, I should probably watch those at some point.
Yeah. Well, speaking of fish out of water, I think it's time to go to the news. And the big story, there's actually been quite a few big stories this week, but in continuing Resident Evil 8 rumor news, we got a big, what is assumed to be a potentially true leak about Resident Evil 8. This actually comes from somebody who's done a fair amount of leaking on Twitter before, and apparently this comes from like some kind of weird like super Resident Evil fan Capcom like preview program.
Yeah. No, I know about that because I think I a long time ago got an email to be able to submit for something similar for the US, because I know that the if I'm not mistaken, the main one is actually in Japan or whatever. I don't know, but I know that I vaguely remember them submitting something for the US, and I was like, but your submission wasn't guaranteed to be involved, and I was like, oh well, fuck that, and kind of.
I only join pilot programs if I'm assured to be there.
Yeah, okay. Exactly.
Waste my time, Resident Evil. But yeah, the rumors go as follows: that this is Resident Evil 8, Resident Evil Village, and if you take VI and then the two L's, yeah, then you got it, the number 8. The rumors here are that this is going to be a continuation kind of 7, like the events in 7 definitely took place. They're not retconning that, and that you're going to be playing as Chris Redfield, but slightly different Chris Redfield than other Resident Evil Chris Redfield, and that you've gone to this weird village below a castle in Europe, and there's like basically what it makes it sound like is they've taken Resident Evil 7 with the kind of the first person and slightly grittier and stuff, and then mixed it with Resident Evil 4 where you're in like weird European countryside.
Yeah. There's
like a castle. There's been some rumors that there's going to be some kind of like maybe magic, maybe hallucinations involved. And that you may also be pursued kind of a la Mr. X or Nemesis by like a witch or something. All of which adds up to be really interesting. I don't know. My main question for you, John, is what do you think? Like, there have been some kind of rumblings, but it's never actually gotten there. Or so people have said that there seems like there's rumblings. Do you think that if Resident Evil just puts full-on magic in Resident Evil, that it would be that's no good? You'd be out?
I mean, no. I mean, I'd be there no matter what. I don't care. Like, you know, it goes back to the whole thing of, you know, the age-old adage of, you know, all magic is just a technology or science we don't understand. Mm-hmm. And they could easily have the entire game be like magic, and then in Resident Evil 9 be like, oh, no, that was just the science thing we did.
That was just, that was the Tyrant virus mixed with nanomachines, because
you just didn't understand what it was.
Yeah, nanomachines are your get out of jail free card. You can just do whatever you want to with
and it's not like the science in Resident Evil isn't fucking weird as it is.
Oh, come on. Now that all stacks up. You put a bunch of trash bags around a big buff guy and then drop him out of a helicopter. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, well, you know, but yeah, I think I also read about this that apparently the rumor about the origins of this game is that originally it wasn't going to be Resident Evil 8, that originally it was going to be Resident Evil Revelations 3.
Yes.
And that when 7 did as well as it did, they were like, "Oh shit, let's repurpose what we've done for that to be Resident Evil 8, and then use either Chris and or whatever his name is from the first or from 7, the main character."
Oh, like Joel? Was that
the main character?
Ethan.
Yeah. Because like the one thing I read, and maybe more stuff has come out since then. The one thing I read said that there was confusion on whether the main character was going to be Chris or Ethan or some kind of combination of the two, or that maybe the main character would be Chris, but Ethan would also be there as a supporting character or something.
Where's my Leon? That's who I want. I'm a Leon stan over here, and I want it to be first person, but I want to make a hair swoop over half of my screen.
If you're going to go Resident Evil 4, you got to have Leon there somewhere, right?
Yeah. I need Leon's wry sense of humor to get me through all the horror that is Resident Evil.
But yeah, apparently the original plan was Resident Evil Revelations 3 was going to be like purposefully a revisit to the events of 4, but from like it's much later in the timeline or whatever. Like that's, and then they're like, well, let's kind of do that, but make it Resident Evil 8.
Okay. At this point, I'm I'm pretty cool with just like give me whatever Resident Evil 8 is, and I'll make my decision because I beat 3, and like the thing about 3 was that 3 really is. I mean, it's not that long, and it does have. I actually found out there is some replay value to 3 because there's all these like weird in-game achievements, and when you hit them, you get credits that you could spend in like this in-game store to buy stuff like infinite ammo gun or a coin that gives your health back, or like, you know, the most expensive thing is like infinite ammo rocket launcher, of course. Like that's been a pretty standard thing in the Resident Evils. So it is kind of cool to like, you know, get I had enough for the infinite ammo handgun, so I went back in and was just like, I don't have to waste. I could just waste all my bullets all the time now. But you know, so far Capcom ain't done me that wrong with Resident Evil. I think
question about Resident Evil 3.
Mm-hmm.
Because I never played the original.
Okay.
Like literally for me, my Resident Evils were 1, 2, 4. Like I missed 3. I missed Code Veronica. Me too. You know, all those others. I just literally went 1, 2, 4. Was 3 always short, or is this like a vast departure of what 3 was? Or
I don't really know because I never played all the way through 3 when it was out either. Now I've read online. There's as is usual, there is some contingency on the internet that is just like rabble Resident Evil 3. And I did see somebody complaining on Twitter, and there's like a list of like part content that had been cut out from the original Resident Evil 3. So I think that there probably were some other things in the original RE3. The question is, because it's and like I'm not saying you can't complain on the internet, but man, I've seen people complain on the internet about cutting out 5 minutes of content from like a remake or something. Like
well, it's like I also saw people complaining about Jill's not being in a sexy skirt. It's like, go fuck yourself.
Right. I don't care
to complain about that.
I really don't care about that. But yeah, so I don't really know. That's the question. The thing is that even if it was 8 hours instead of 6 hours, that's not that big a deal. The main thing is just, you know, there's a single player campaign, and then they definitely beefed it up with the Resistance multiplayer. And so if you're not interested in playing that multiplayer mode, which is kind of cool, but it's also kind of a little scummy because there's been this whole like, you know, they've got loot boxes, and you can't buy the currency to get the loot boxes, but you can buy XP boosters with real world money. So it's like they're just getting around the edge of that. And then when I think back to RE2, it's like, you know, I played through RE2, and then I immediately played all the way back through RE2 with the other side. So it's definitely shorter than RE2, or RE7.
Okay.
I totally think it's worth it if you could get it on sale for like $40 or maybe even 30. But okay, like, you know, I don't know, 60 may be a bit much if you're not planning on doing the multiplayer at all. Anyway, but you know what? Maybe we'll get that stuff back, because Capcom was putting out a poll that seemed like it was mostly aimed for Japan, basically asking people kind of if they were more interested in remakes or sequels in the Resident Evil franchise. And there were some questions on there. They didn't actually specify, like, would you like to see Code Veronica or Resident Evil 8? It was more just like, kind of in general, what the Resident Evil audience is looking for, which you know, in this case, I could really see, because, you know, Capcom did the thing with 7, and it seemed like they were going in this different direction, and then they went back to 2, and now it's like, well, if 2 sold better than 7, should they move on to 8, or should they just keep remaking the franchise from the ground up until they remake 7?
I'll say this: if they're going to remake, instead of going to whatever the next game is, go back and remake Resident Evil 1 for like a third time, but using the engine that 2 and 3 are in.
Yeah, that would actually be really good, because
that they all have like a consistent look all across them.
Yep, that's what happened to Metal Gear. Son of a bitch. They never remade Metal Gear 1 outside of Twin Snakes. That doesn't count. It's just
I was about to say. No. I was like, no. There was that remake you hated, Twin Snakes.
No, he does a backflip off a missile. It's dumb. But anyway, this is interesting, and I think it is interesting to think about, like, if Capcom decides to keep going down the remake road, they only really have, they have Code Veronica, right? But then after Code Veronica, we're up to 4, And that's really a question of like, do you remake Resident Evil 4? Because that game still looks really good and it's fully playable on current everything. Like,
yeah, and do you remake 5 and 6?
That's a question. That'd actually be interesting if they remade Code Veronica and then skipped over 4 and said we're going to remake 5 and make it better. I didn't even think
They
5
could probably
was,
also go back to 0.
Oh yeah, 1 and 0, and then there's a bunch of others, right? There's like Gun Survivor, and they could remake Umbrella Corps, make it really good. Operation Raccoon City, all those great multiplayer Resident Evil games that we just can't get enough of.
Jesus.
I don't know. Well, anyway, if you do get a chance to play Resident Evil Code Veronica on new consoles, you might be playing it with the DualSense, the new controller for the PS5.
Because it's not a shock. It's
not.
a sense.
That's right. They've light things up,
Yeah.
So yes, Sony showed us the new controller that they're making for the PS5, and it's funky. It's a little funky.
It kind of looks like a PlayStation. It looks like a DualShock with a Xbox shell over it.
It looks like it's got the when you buy a piece of electronics, it's got like that clear plastic that you have to peel off first. It's like if the clear plastic was just all white, then you just pull that off. Yeah, I don't know. It's got some interesting stuff. Apparently, it's got. I don't even know where to start. The triggers are that kind of like haptic feedback. Everybody seems like, John, do you remember? I feel like everybody's been obsessed for like the last console generation and a half about this like super sensitive haptic feedback triggers that I've never been able to tell a difference about.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the Xbox One had that too, where they were like, God, Rumble or the HD Rumble on the Switch, and I'm just like, I don't know, it feels like Rumble, man. Like maybe I'm not a Rumble connoisseur. Maybe I don't. I need to learn to differentiate between different Rumbles. But like, controller shakes, controller doesn't shake. It's kind of where I'm coming from. But yeah, apparently the triggers are going to have some kind of like weird haptic feedback on it. The share button has been swapped out for the create button. No idea what a create button
makes it sound like it's the exact same thing. It's just they called it something else.
In their press release, they said, with Create, we're once again pioneering new ways for players to create epic gameplay content to share with the world or just enjoy for themselves. We'll have more details on this feature when we get close to launch. Okay.
I'm willing to bet that it's just a share function that they just called Create,
or that it just plugs into some new app where you can trim or export to Twitch or something. But
yeah, probably.
They took the light off the front and they put it kind of underneath the touchpad in between these three panels that kind of make up the top of the controller. The buttons and the D-pad seem like they're super recessed. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Oh, but
no, they're clear.
I just pulled it up and they're clear. I don't know. Maybe it was just because I was missing the color on the square and circle and X and triangle. It's USB-C, which apparently means it'll charge really fast. It also, what was the other thing? It's got a microphone. It's got a microphone built into the actual gamepad. And I actually was reading some kind of rumors that like that microphone is going to have a bunch of like noise canceling and like kind of trying to isolate your voice. But the whole idea being that you could at least somewhat communicate with people without having to put a headset on. Like if you're actually playing a Overwatch, you would want to have a headset on. But if you were just like, hey buddy, how's it going?
Yeah, I think the article that I read was just like, yeah, if you don't have a headset, don't worry. You'll still be able to use the controller to, it'll have a microphone and speakers on it, and you'll still be able to use the controller to chat with your friends. But we recommend getting a headset if you have one.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, okay.
Yep. All in all, it looks like kind of what I would expect, except for the fact that the PlayStation controllers have looked like, I feel like, very similar. Even the DualShock 4, the 1 through 3 were mostly identical body styling, at least as near as I could tell. And then the 4 was kind of like an iteration on that. This does look more like a kind of weird Xbox controller.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I hated the PlayStation controller. I hate the DualShocks. I
Why
play
do you
with
hate
them.
the
But
DualShock?
they cramp up my hands.
Why? How?
They're uncomfortable. They're not ergonomic.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I've never had a problem with them. Maybe it's because maybe my hands have grown into being able to find that comfortable, because I always found them to be the most comfortable, at least until I used an Xbox controller for any length of time. Now I don't know the difference between any of them. But yes, so the interesting two-tone nature of this controller led the internet to do what the internet does, which is first, the internet tried different colors, which of course they did. Like, a lot of people didn't like the way this looked.
I actually think in one of the press releases they stated that you would be able to buy them in different colors.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that's I would be flabbergasted if they were like. The only thing that's weird about it is I don't know about defaulting to white. John, you had original Xbox 360 that had a whitish controller. Did that thing just get like filthy looking?
A little bit. Like there were parts of it that kind of got gunky. Yeah.
Okay, but like, did it like discolor? It was like gray on the outside where your hands were on it?
It stayed white. I mean, it stayed white. It's just it looked like it had like it was very clear when it had like gunk on it from just playing for extended periods of time and dust.
Jam.
And then when you get dust in a room and you're playing a game and your hands all sweaty and it turns that dust into like that weird gunk that gets on all controllers that you don't really notice until you have a white Xbox 360 controller.
So yeah, there's been a lot of photoshopping of just putting different colors on this thing, which it seems, I don't know, to me that seems like it's kind of the whole purpose of having these big chunks is so that you can have different colored controllers.
Yeah.
And then also the internet had some fun of putting like strong bad and like stormtroopers and stuff.
Well, someone pointed out that if you just draw the smile underneath it and then put whiskers on the side, it looks like Totoro from My Neighbor Totoro.
Oh yeah, yeah. I got one here that's like Mario overalls. That's pretty good. Yeah, so the internet's having a field day. I mean, this is what happens, right? If anybody does anything new on the internet, then everybody gets all wackadoo. But one person pointed out, and I was actually thinking about this myself, that if the default colors on the PlayStation controller are two-tone and they're white and black, then I would think that kind of gives us an indication that the default color on the PlayStation 5 is going to be a two-tone white and black to match the controller.
Possible.
I mean, it would be weird to me if the console was all black and then the controller was white and black.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe not. All right, from there, let's see. Let's do some more Sony stuff. So last week we got the news that The Last of Us 2 was indefinitely delayed. This week we're finding out that Sony is refunding any digital purchases of Last of Us Part 2 and Iron Man VR, which I guess I didn't talk about being indefinitely delayed.
They're both equally infinitely delayed.
Yep. There's some kind of rumor out there on the internet that Sony's going to put out The Last of Us 2 digitally at the end of May, and I don't believe it. I don't believe that either. I don't believe it.
They wouldn't be issuing refunds if they were going to do that.
I don't think so. Also, I don't think that Sony of all people would. I don't know if this is quite the time for The Last of Us Part 2, John.
Yeah.
I mean, it's never a good time for some things, but I don't know. Besides, they've already shown that they want to put The Last of Us Part 2 out like right at the very best time for that game to come out.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
Which
is right when the apocalypse actually starts.
Yes.
Not right before the apocalypse starts.
Yes. The hour it starts, they'll also drop Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
You'll be able to pick it up, but maybe not at GameStop because GameStop is back to GameStop.
GameStop.
So in Massachusetts, GameStop continued to be open, insisting that they were an essential service. The thing that's interesting about this was apparently they had new guidelines issued to the people that worked at GameStop that they should have like rubber gloves, and that if somebody comes to pick up a game, they should like open the door, keep the door between your face and the person's face, and then like put the game out of the door so that the person on the other side can grab it and like don't get close to them. My favorite part of this story, though, is that apparently, because we already know that GameStop employees didn't really have access to very much protective gear, that the corporate mandate was, if you don't have access to any rubber gloves, take one of the GameStop bags and tie it, like tape it around your arm, and then use the GameStop bag as a gigantic mitt to pick up the games and hand them to the people so that they can get the games during the time of all the pandemics and stuff.
Fuck GameStop.
Right. Apparently, apparently they went out and tried to shut them down, and they said no, and they gave them like a nuisance citation, but they finally shut them down. So not that I'm like excited about that, but it just doesn't seem like GameStop. I mean, I guess the thing is that it would be one thing if there were a lot of other places that were open except for GameStop, but I just I'm not in this like GameStop is an essential service. No, it's not. It's not.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. It's not an essential service. But I think what the issue here is, and I think this is what GameStop doesn't want people to understand or doesn't want people to know, is that if they were to close and have to stay closed for as long as they think it's probably going to have to be closed, they will not be a business.
Yes.
They will be filing for bankruptcy and shutting down stores, laying off more people than they already have, and then there will just not be a GameStop around anymore.
Well, they're already shutting down stores. I mean,
I know they're shutting down
week,
stores,
but yeah, I agree.
So they're trying to keep as many stores open for as long as they're allowed, and even to maybe some degree, maybe a little bit longer than they're allowed, in an effort just to get in that little bit extra cash to hopefully keep the company from going bankrupt before it's too late.
Yep. Well, I was also thinking about how interesting it would be from GameStop's perspective that if they shut down and then they force everybody who used to go to GameStop to start buying their games like digitally on the consoles, and then people are like, oh, fuck, that was super easy. Like people who have never done it before. I'm sure there are people out there who haven't ever bought like Final Fantasy VII or, Animal Crossing or, Doom or something. And they do it. They're just like, oh, shit, that was super easy. Why am I going to this store where they keep asking me if I want to sign up for the world's worst gaming magazine every time actually, do they still have Game Informer? Is that still a thing?
Yes, they do. Well, yes, I think they do.
I know the website fired like 90% of the people that worked for it, but I don't know about the actual print magazine.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that they were offering the magazine digitally for a while. But I don't know if they still do print. Maybe not.
Okay. Well, you may have to go to a GameStop at some point because right now it seems like GameStop might be one of the only places to get a Switch. Nintendo Switches are crazy sold out right now.
That and Ring Fit Adventure.
Yeah. Well, I think that Nintendo I think they just manufactured 300 copies of Ring Fit Adventure. They were just like, that'll be enough. Nobody's going to want this.
Yeah. No, I mean, I when they did their little Nintendo Direct and had their thing like, oh, hey, Ring Fit Adventure's having this new DLC, I was like, oh, I'm going to be stuck in my house or, in my apartment for probably months on end, and I'm probably not going to get a lot of exercise. I should probably buy Ring Fit Adventure, so at least I'm doing something that resembles exercise in some way, shape, or form. And they're sold out everywhere. And if you want to buy one like on eBay or even on Amazon, like if you buy one from like a third party seller on Amazon, like they want like $300 for it.
That's actually very similar to what's happening with the Nintendo Switch. Apparently, Nintendo Switches on eBay and Amazon are going for like just straight up the Switch by itself is going for something like $500 right now because they're just completely sold out. But that has not stopped GameStop from basically cashing in. I kind of hate this shit when they do stuff like this where they're like, you can't get a Switch, can you? Well, we've got a $500 Switch bundle that's guaranteed to ship on April 30th. This is obviously a huge price markup to keep it from selling out, right? So they can sell it longer. But basically what this is it's a Switch, Animal Crossing, Breath of the Wild, a digital copy of Minecraft, and a Pro Controller. And apparently, if you add all those up individually, you're basically saving $20 on all of those things. which, like, I'm not going to say that getting a Switch, Animal Crossing, Zelda, and a Pro Controller, and fuck whatever, you already own Minecraft. Everybody owns Minecraft, but like that's a good chunk of consumer entertainment right there, right?
Yeah, no, it is.
No, this is like a NBA 2K20 branded Xbox One or anything. This is like, you know, some good solid ass video games that you could totally use. I just hate the way that they do this. That they put together these bundles to be able to mark it up because the thing is in short supply. So they're not going to just sell you, you know, because the regular Switch is $250, right? Like,
Yeah.
This is double the cost of that, just because you're being forced to buy a bunch of stuff. It's not the worst thing, but I also am not in the most generous mood when it comes to GameStop right now. I haven't stepped into a GameStop in forever. They keep closing them. They keep closing the ones that are close to my house, and I'm like, well, I'm not gonna go specifically to a GameStop because there's a Best Buy in between the GameStop and me. I'll go there instead. But yes, apparently Nintendo Switches are in super short supply. Nintendo has said that there are more that are being manufactured, but as could be in one of the biggest no doi moments in the world, they're having difficulty manufacturing them right now. So
yes.
It's not exactly the easiest thing to get. So in fact, it appears that all Switch shipments to Japan are shut down. In fact, Nintendo appears to be restocking the Europe and the US before they send any more new Switches to Japan.
Wow.
Which is kind of crazy. I guess it just goes to show that the markets there are probably like 10 times the size of one smaller country.
Yeah, that's wow. Still.
Yeah. It's a little strange. Well, when you finally do get your $500 Nintendo Switch, maybe you could play Super Mario Super Mario Lego. I don't know what this is exactly called, but like not Lego Super Mario Brother, but like Super Mario Brothers Legos.
These sets are kind of cool, but also weird.
They're very strange.
They're strange. Even by Lego standards, they're a little expensive.
Yeah, apparently the base set is $60, and we've talked about this before, where it's like a little Nintendo course with a little Mario with like an LED face, and you can kind of build a few things. The main problem that I'm having here, John, you're a Lego aficionado. You could talk to me about this. Is that it doesn't seem like there's many things. One of the great things about Legos, right, is that you could build the thing, or you could take it all apart and build something different. And it just doesn't seem like there's a lot of different things that you could build with this set of Mario Legos.
I mean, it literally what it looks like is that you can build a side-scrolly style Mario level, and then you can change the organization of that level. Now, I will say the King Koopa Castle set is probably the coolest looking one. It just doesn't come with Mario, so
yeah, they just announced that this week that they've got the Bowser's Castle boss expansion, and then this little like Mario goes back and forth between two piranha plants expansion. Which are
so Mario only comes with the base set, which is $60. Then there's the Piranha Plant thing, which I want to say was $40. And then the Bowser is Bowser's Castle is $100.
Okay.
And apparently the reason I understand the reason why they're a little bit more expensive and you're getting a lot less than you would with a normal Lego set is because of the fact that a lot of the bricks have like actual computer chips in them.
Right.
And so that when you move the Mario around, he actually interacts with the items. Like, for example, like in one point in the video, it shows Mario stomping on the back of a turtle, and it's actually making the sound effect of him stomping, the sound effect from the game where he stomps on a turtle.
Right.
And then also his face, makes an expression that, like that Mario would make when stomping on a turtle. Or, going down a warp pipe makes the warp pipe noise. Collecting a coin makes the coin collect noise, different things like that, where it's actually interacting with the pieces that you're making. So there's also not a lot of customizability you can really do with those because of the fact that you have to have these pieces that can only be read by this Mario figure that also is a weird shape compared to Lego figures.
Right. It's like a giant minifig.
Yeah. Looks cool though.
Would you let me ask you? You're a Lego guy, right? You got all the Overwatch
I got
Legos
a bunch
and
of
stuff.
Legos, yeah.
What would you pay for, say, the base set of Mario? What would you think was a reasonable cost for the base Mario set?
So again, I understand why it's $60, but it feels like a $40 set.
Yeah, I could see that.
Where the expansion set that's like $40 feels like a $20 set.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Bowser's Castle, that seems like a $60 set.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe even $80 set, if not 60. But again, I understand why there's the markup is because of the interactivity and the electronic components that are part of it. So I get that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
but
know
even then, I will say Legos are fucking expensive on their own. So,
that's true. I haven't bought any Legos in a long time. I think I wanted to buy that Friends 20th anniversary little Lego Central Perk set for my sister, and then it was like, oh, it's $60, and I was like, the fuck you say? I don't need a Joey Lego guy for $60, or I don't even remember how much it was, but I guess
I think you're right. It was $60. I think it was $59.99.
Okay. The main thing is that I feel like $40. I feel like, especially if you put it at $39.99, that's low enough that my brain will rationalize the dumb impulse purchase. But like $60 is really the thing where I'm like, well, I could buy these Mario Legos, or I could buy a full brand new video game that's going to last for a million years, as opposed to Mario Legos that are going to last for like 20 hours. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really that much of a Lego guy anymore, so it's kind of.
The question is, will I buy them? Probably.
Yeah, if they're Nintendo, so they probably are going to make like 4 of them, right? Like you buy one, and then you can just not take it out of the package and sell it like 2 months later on eBay for $6,000 to some guy who just really wants his Mario Legos. He was like, I didn't know they were going to sell out. It's like, it's Nintendo. You're stupid. They haven't been able to manufacture anything in years. Yes. So, well, maybe, maybe instead of going outside and buying Legos, you could stay inside and play with video games. And now you could try out the preeminent online video game service, Google Stadia, for free for 2 months, John.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Stadia Pro, no less.
Oh.
And you don't even have to buy the dumb controller. Sir. You could get access to Stadia Pro for 2 months without paying. What was it they wanted? Like $120 for like the Founders Pack or whatever it was?
Yeah, it was a lot.
So, yeah, now we can all find out that Stadia's garbage and it will be priced appropriately, because I didn't know this, but apparently it's still like Destiny 2 and Grid and like it's like there's like 5 games on there or something, or you got like 9 games by default, and I don't know. John, you have super fast internet now. Will you try Stadia Pro?
No.
It doesn't cost any money.
No.
What else can I say? I guess it's
like they don't like. It's like, tell me what games are on there. Oh, you told me what games are on there. No, Destiny, I have no desire.
You don't want to play Destiny 2 for free over the internet?
I don't want to play Destiny 2. Period. I didn't even want to be on any of the Dojo videos when it came out.
Yeah, me neither. I fucking hate Destiny. Yeah, I don't know. Like, that's cool and everything, Google, and you're on the right track. But like, maybe you need to give me a free trial and games that I want to play. Yeah. Let's look at the list. Let's look and see what's on the Google Stadia list. These are, because you have to buy a lot of the. What is that? Fuck you guys. These games aren't out yet. Baldur's Gate 3 and Cyberpunk aren't out yet. Doom Eternal, Darksiders.
But do you have to buy those?
Yes. Yeah. These you have to buy.
Okay.
Final Fantasy 15. Like, I just, if you didn't have a console, I could see maybe trying it. But like, dude, I already have all these games. Yeah. Boy, that's not a lot of games either. It's like 2 pages worth of games on the internet.
And a lot of them you have to buy.
Yeah, most of them you have to buy. So yeah. Also, I'm pretty sure the way this works is that you have to sign up and put in a credit card number, and then like if you forget to cancel it in 2 months, and they start billing you like they would normally, because there is some kind of like
that's how they get you
$10 a month thing. Because Pro was like you have to buy the Founders Pack for X amount of dollars, and then you also have to sign up for the Pro service, which you can't do unless you have the Founders Pack. And I don't know. Are you playing Stadia Pro? Are you playing Stadia at home? Are you staying at home with Stadia? Are you? Tell me about it. Tell me if it's any good. I don't know. My internet isn't good enough to play it, and it's barely good enough to conference these 2 phone calls together. Speaking of things that aren't great, let's talk about the Entertainment Software Association, John.
What's going on with the ESA?
Well, so I read this article, and it was like, and the article says the ESA is not going to be like, even though E3 has been canceled, some people might be doing some stuff. The ESA though will not be like holding a framework like an online version of E3. They were essentially just going to be like assisting in individual exhibitors to promote their games during the time that E3 would have been.
Okay.
Which I don't know, kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Like I've cooled a lot on the Entertainment Software Association over the years. The idea that it's like it's not that hard to just put together. Like surely you can find enough developers and enough places to put on some kind of virtual live show, you know, even without being in the same room as people. I mean, I look at the number of like.
Hell. Right now, there are comic conventions that are doing virtual conventions.
Yeah.
Like where it's like, oh, you were having like cosplay contests and panels and you know and invent people like an artist alley where you can talk to artists and actually like buy their stuff and like all virtual from the comfort of your own home. It's like if they can figure that out, then surely the ESA, a company designed with electronics in mind and technology, can figure out a way to do a virtual E3.
Figure fucking something out. Well, actually, but you know what? Maybe I'm giving them maybe I'm looking at this the wrong way, because it seemed like they were fucking up E3 pretty hard before they had to cancel.
Oh, well, yeah, of course.
So maybe it's good that they aren't going to try to have like the virtual influencers come into their E3 stream. And then, I don't know, though, if you're going to be doing E3, you might as well bring on fucking Ninja and I don't know who else, other people that are Markiplier, fucking what's his name?
Get whoever runs the Twitch E3. Just hire Twitch to do the virtual E3.
I don't know, man. Those guys get weird. What's E3? Once all the conferences go off the air and they keep casting for like 4 hours, like you turn it on at 2:00 in the morning, and I'm like, why is that guy spraying shaving cream down the other guy's pants at 2:00 in the morning?
Well, obviously you don't get those guys, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. I don't know. I was looking forward to something, and I feel like we're mutating into this weird thing. I mean, fuck, man, I'm putting together remote events. I don't even have anybody over for the dojo anymore. It's all the dojo remoto now. You could do it, ESA. You've got resources that Jeff from Rage Select doesn't. I could put on a better E3 than this, goddammit. And maybe I will.
You know, the one good thing is that we did get confirmation that there will be a Devolver Digital press conference still.
That's the one thing that the Sitton household was on the edge of their seat for.
Yeah, Devolver Digital announced that they were working on the script for it, so that it was gonna happen.
Good. What's that? That's in June. So April, May, June. All right. So this is April, and in May we're going to get used to the new Dojo Remoto. No, we'll get used to Dojo Remoto by the end of April. We'll spend all of May, and then we're going to put on our own fucking E3. And I don't care if it's just got to be playing video games on live streams for 12 hours with a PayPal link. That'll be my E3. That's right. Also,
I support this idea. Let's fucking do it.
Blackjack and hookers. We'll do not. Blackjack and...
So you're essentially saying we should be playing Grand Theft Auto and go to the casino in Grand Theft Auto, play blackjack, and then leave the casino and get hookers.
John, you're a genius.
I am a genius. I know.
You're a genius. Speaking of stuff that's been canceled, E3 may be gone, but BlizzCon, we're not sure about yet. because BlizzCon is a ways out. And so last week, Blizzard basically said, like, we don't know, because if things are bumping by then we'll do it. But we're not going to cancel it prematurely months and months and months in advance. So.
Yeah, I know a lot of conventions that are from August past, or past August 1st, are kind of taking a wait and see before they want to announce anything. They're just like, we're aware, we know, we're waiting, because if by August we can actually do this, then we're still going to do it. But
all right,
but if we're not, we're prepared to cancel it.
Okay. Which is prudent. It's fine. I actually think that everybody should be a lot more flexible than just being like, it's canceled. It's like, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. In more seeing what happens news, apparently there was some back and forth last week where the producer of Fatal Frame, who is Katsuki Kikuchi, said in an interview with Nintendo Everything that basically Nintendo holds all the kind of cards when it comes to Fatal Frame. He's not done with Fatal Frame, but like re-releasing Made to the Black Water on the Switch, that's up to Nintendo. Like, apparently it even goes as far as he was asked about remasters of Fatal Frame 2 and Fatal Frame 4, which never actually saw release in the United States, and he was like, that's pretty much Nintendo. But apparently there's that Fatal Frame movie adaptation that's been kind of semi-greenlit. So we might be seeing more Fatal Frame in the future. As somebody,
who knows?
Somebody who's a fan of Fatal Frame, I think Fatal Frame would be awesome as a reboot. Just please don't set it in like feudal Japan. Just make it about cell phones and shit, right? Like, everybody's got cell phones.
Yeah, I can see that.
Totally works. All right, let's talk about some trailers. We got a trailer this week for Grounded, Obsidian's next big game.
Yeah.
Which is AKA Honey, I Shrunk the Minecraft, where you play as
Honey, I Shrunk the Fortnite.
Well, that too. Oh yeah, because you could build stuff, right? I don't know. Did you said you watched the story trailer for this, right?
Yes.
What'd you think?
It's interesting. There's way more story to it than I was expecting. Mm-hmm. And the fact that there is a single player mode where you can literally play it by yourself, I'm all for that. Like, it doesn't just require, like, because I was actually really worried that it was going to require multiplayer to play.
There's going to be like one of those things where it's not fun unless you're playing it with other people.
Yeah, or just that you can't play it unless you're playing with other people. Mm. But yeah, it looks fun. Like, it looks like if it popped up on the day it pops up on Xbox Game Pass or whatever, I'll give it a launch. I'll give it a download and play it.
And watching the trailer again, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure if this is coming across to you as much to you as it is to me, but it's also real smooth. Like,
yeah, it's very smooth,
very polished, like very like nice frame rate, lots of great animation. Like, everything looks very clean and good. Yeah, and I'm totally into it.
Yeah, and they also talked about how, if I'm not mistaken, like the story that it is open ended. Like, it's not like the story mode isn't like you beat it. It's very like, oh, this is the world, and there's a mystery on why you're small and what happened and what's going on in this backyard. And then apparently, like, when the game comes out, like, it won't technically be finished, and it's going to be one of those things where they deal out the story as time goes on, and may even change the story depending on
feedback,
on community feedback. Like, they may have the story go into a different direction that they. Like, they said that they're working to make it very flexible as far as the story goes, so that if they're going in a direction and they see the community doesn't like it, they can just change it on a whim.
Okay, that's cool. And that's coming out onto the Xbox Game Pass like preview program and Steam Early Access on July 28th. So not that long to wait. But then the big news. This isn't the big news. The big news is that goddamn trailer was full of gigantic spiders, and I'm not really a big fan of those. And apparently, they're going to have an arachnophobia mode like they had in Infinifactory? Was that the one that had that?
Oh yeah,
where basically I've seen like 2 or 3 games that do this where like if you don't like spiders, you can hit a checkbox and then it replaces the spiders with some different type of enemy that is not a spider.
Oh, okay.
I'm a big fan of that as somebody who doesn't like spiders. Not that video game spiders bother me that much, but still, given the choice, I say nah, bro. I say nah, bro to spiders. So,
okay.
Who likes spiders? Who likes?
There are people that like spiders, man. I mean, there's a lot of people that like Spider-Man.
Well, now I like Spider-Man. I'm not like I hate spiders and also fuck Spider-Man. The furthest that I go is Lucas the Spider. He could burn in hell. Little freaky child spiders. You're not fooling me with your cuteness.
Okay.
Yep. And I'm going to step on those spiders with my giant No Man's Sky exo-mech. When is No Man's Sky going to stop adding shit, John?
Never. It's going to add stuff in forever.
Every time they do a thing, I'm like, okay, well, surely that's it. And then they're like, nope, there's mechs. You could build a mech in No Man's Sky now. Apparently, it protects you from all environmental hazards. It's got like a digging beam. It's got all kinds of shit, and it looks pretty cool. Apparently, it's modeled all the way around the inside, so you can like look around in VR if you want to look around the inside of the mech. Then just one day there's going to be a Starship Citizen expansion. Oh, Star Citizen, and then it just turns into Star Citizen.
Yeah, it just turns out that they just bought Star Citizen and just added it as an add-on to their game because why the fuck not?
Nice.
They're already doing everything that Star Citizen said that it was going to do.
That's true. Also, the mechs can also fly. And yeah, I don't know. I'm a sucker for a giant robot. You know what I thought of when I saw this, John? I thought you and I need to get us some of these No Man's Sky mechs, and then we need to recreate, like we need to do a machinima where we recreate the fight scene from Robot Jocks.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Robots.
I was actually just thinking, I was like, is this going to lead into a Robot Jocks thing?
Yes.
Oh, I am totally on board for it.
And the only thing is that of all the features that they talked about in the trailer, they didn't say that you could punch other mechs with your mech. I'm like, well, why even have a mech if that's the case? Got to be able to punch them, or at least turn into like an airplane. No, that's going to be it, isn't it? The next update's going to be a mech that then turns into one of the fighters that could fly to other planets, and then you just come down and
basically turn it into a Veritech.
Yes, do it. Hello Games, do it. Quit making
a mech that turns into a motorcycle.
Or that just turns into like a whole bunch of different things. You got one that goes underwater. They've got all that undersea shit. So you got like a submarine one. And then they can do like a Centurions expansion where you can add the power extreme, and then a humanoids expansion, and then a visionaries expansion. Oh.
Eventually, it's just there are going to be no other video games or any other type of media. It's just going to be No Man's Sky, which has continually been updating through all of history.
It's like the gray.
It's going to be the only game.
The gray goo of video games. It just envelops other franchises, and it's just like, guess what? Resident Evil is part of No Man's Sky now. You just go to one planet, play Resident Evil. Or maybe Final Fantasy, which we also got a trailer for the Final Fantasy VII remake. Apparently, a lot of people were talking when this trailer came out. Somebody warned me in the Discord. They were like, this trailer's got a bunch of spoilers in it. And I was like, huh? Because apparently there is a bunch of new shit in 7, like things that are way different than they were.
I've heard some people are upset by that.
I don't know. It's so weird to me because I both remember the big story beats from 7, but I don't remember any of the specifics of 7. So it's like I kind of live in the best of both worlds, where I could be pleasantly surprised, but also have nostalgia, but not be mad about changing stuff. So, apparently, other thing I read, John, was on how long to beat, because Final Fantasy 7 is already out in the wild. People were marking down that it only took them 42 hours with side quests to beat Final Fantasy VII.
Only.
Well,
blasphemous.
Well, considering that the alternative is, like, right now I've been looking for a new game to play, and my choices are Final Fantasy VII or Persona 5 Royale, which is like, 120 hours on the low side. Like, but I could do 40. I could do that. It's like, a week worth of hardcore playing.
How dare they? That's too little. They literally just cut the game in half time wise. How dare they?
I think they cut it into thirds. I think it's going to be this third and then another third and then another third. But I just want to see. I kind of want to see it all the way to the end to see, like, does it feel like if I really suppress all my emotions, does it feel like a grand climax when I finish it, or does it just feel like a cliffhanging cock tease.
Yeah, like it doesn't feel satisfying as a single entry.
Yeah, as a story. So I don't know. I'll find out tomorrow.
There's a part of me that's kind of like, I kind of want to, but at the same time, I kind of don't. I don't care about it, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, I don't know. Maybe I should buy it digitally. I don't know. I
think you should wait for it to go on sale, man. I think it's going to be one of those things that goes on by the end of the year. It's going to be like $40 or free on the PlayStation with PlayStation Plus. I don't know. I would be, if you buy it, you tell me, because after all the time, I would be interested to know what you think.
And again, I didn't say it wasn't going to be a good game. I just said I just don't fucking care.
Yeah. No, I get it. Let's see. What else we got? We got a reveal. I know what you do care about. That's Streets of Rage 4.
Oh, yeah. They need to give me a fucking release date.
They need to give all of us.
I need me some Streets of Rage 4 in my veins.
Yep. This week we got a trailer showing that there's going to be, was there like 5 main characters and then like another 5 or 6, like basically they put the retro sprites from the old Streets of Rage games into this new one.
Yeah, so there's a retro mode, which basically makes the game look like Streets of Rage 1, 2, and 3.
Well, it's just the characters.
Yeah.
Like all the backgrounds and stuff, and even the enemies seem like they're, or I don't know. Unless this trailer
it looks like it has like a, well, it does look like it kind of has a filter over it.
Mm-hmm.
But like the characters look like the old characters, and then like you can also play as the characters from Streets of Rage 1 and 2,
and 3.
And 3,
I think.
I thought it just said 1 and 2.
Oh, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe there's a bunch of unlocks in 1 and 2 that I never got. I remember playing the hell out of Streets of Rage when I was a kid. But also, there's some like retro soundtrack. You can listen to the old soundtrack. Yeah, it all looks great. I can't wait to play Streets of Rage 4.
Oh my god, I am so excited for it. They just won't release or announce a street date for it, and I need it.
Yep.
Also, I love that one of the packages for it is for one of the editions is the if you buy it through I think limited run games, you can get it inside of a Sega Genesis shell case.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. The only time I've seen that recently is when I went to last time I was able to actually go to a Best Buy, which was like 2 months ago. They had the Disney Lion King Aladdin 2-pack.
Mm-hmm.
And they had them in, one of them looked like the old school SNES box, and the other one looked like the Genesis case, the shell case. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, those are pretty cool. Okay, we got to go into hyperdrive because even though we're overtime. So
yeah, it's fine. It happens with us.
There's gonna be a Cannibal Holocaust video game.
Okay,
for some reason, and it's gonna be like
sure.
From the director of the original Cannibal Holocaust, there is no information. There is a poster. Why?
There's a trailer that is just focusing on areas of the poster.
Yeah, and then like intercut with like brief footage from Cannibal Holocaust. Apparently it's going to be like an adventure game and also a horror game. I don't know, man. This one's weird.
Okay.
Yeah. File this under like what? Why? What?
All right, sure.
Yep. We also got a trailer for Wastelanders, free update that's coming out on Tuesday, right around the corner. So
this is for
Fallout
7, right?
Yeah, Fallout 76, adding in NPCs, turning it slowly but surely into an actual Fallout game until it's just Fallout 5 and they rename it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they realize no one wants to play it otherwise.
Yeah. I'm actually going to try this. I'm going to give it my best. I'm going to try to go back in and see if playing it's any fun. I don't know. Maybe it will be. It's free. I paid cash money for Fallout 76. I might as well see whether it's garbage or not. The trailer.
I lean towards garbage.
Yeah. Let's see. And then from there, we've got a few more announcements. Apparently, according to CD Projekt Red, Cyberpunk 2077 is still going to be released in September. Apparently, they're still working from home. And, that's one of the only or one of the big saving graces, not saving graces, that's the wrong word. One of the big benefits of like it was supposed to come out in April and then they pushed it back is they were probably pushing it back to deal with a series of minor tweaks and changes, right? So
Yeah.
things that they can do remotely, things that they don't have to be into the work every day for. So Cyberpunk 2077 is probably still going to come out, and that's great. Because, you know, John, I had the thought the other day about, you know, pushing up all the home releases of a bunch of stuff and then pushing back a bunch of the movies that were supposed to come out this year. And like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be fine for a while, but unless we get back into it, or even if we do get back into it, like in August, there's just going to be nothing, like nothing new on TV, no movies, no Netflix, because we watched them all ahead of time. So I don't know. It's got to get yourself a big meaty video game like Saints Row the Third, which is going to be remastered, like actually remastered.
Yeah. It looks like they added a new like lighting engine to it and some new particle effects.
Apparently, they redid all the models for the guns and for the vehicles in the game, which is good because you know what? I feel like Saints Row 4 started to overshadow Saints Row 3, but Saints Row 3 is the one where fucking Burt Reynolds is the mayor.
Yeah, I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
I love Saints Row 4. Saints Row 4 is a great game. I think Saints Row 3 is actually a better game.
Well, you know, Saints Row 4 is I feel like if you started at Saints Row 4, you're really missing a lot because Saints Row 3 introduced like 90% of the shit that was in Saints Row 4. It's just Saints Row 4 allowed you to break everything that was an actual game in Saints Row 3.
Yeah, I will say I'm kind of excited for this, and I actually look forward to playing it. Though I will say I kind of wish they had waited and actually remastered all the Saints Row games, like Saints Row 1, 2, 3, even do some minor tweaks or whatever to 4, and then Get Out of Hell as well, so that they all kind of and then just release them as like a collection. But that's probably a lot of work, and it's asking too much. So,
yeah.
Or just give me Saints Row 5.
Well, good news, John. They are giving you Saints Row 5.
What?
Apparently, when Saints Row the Third Remastered was announced, somebody on Twitter went out there and basically was like, at the Saints Row game, we didn't ask for a Saints Row Remastered game. We want a brand new game with no extra alien shit. Lol. And the Saints Row account tweeted back, a new Saints Row game is in development from Volition. The Saints Row the Third Remaster is being done by Sparasoft. So who knows? Maybe that's, you know what? Maybe that's the biggest story is that E3 was canceled, and so we're not going to get to see Saints Row 5 until some other time. But there is a Saints Row game in the works that is not Saints Row the Third. Also, let's see. Speaking of open world games, Mafia 2 and Mafia 3 definitive editions have been listed by Taiwan Digital Ratings Board.
Okay.
So probably going to get a collection that has Mafia 2 and Mafia 3 before the year is done. I was unaware that the two of them had not already been. Well, Mafia 3 was already a current gen game. So
yeah.
Let's see. Speaking of sequels, we're getting a sequel to Rogue Legacy.
That one's interesting. I didn't hear about this one.
Yep, Rogue Legacy 2 is in the works, and apparently it's got a bunch of new stuff that seems like it's going to be pretty cool. It looks a lot like, I don't know. There's not like a trailer per se. It's mostly just kind of a little teaser of a character. It looks like the Rogue Legacy art style, but I liked Rogue Legacy. So
yeah, no, I really liked it. It was kind of like the forefront of those games that use the roguelike style.
Yep. Let's see. If you're looking to help the world, apparently Borderlands 3 can make that happen.
So they're, someone decided to do something good behind Randy Pitchford's back.
Yes. Borderlands 3 has a new thing called Borderlands Science. This is really strange. Apparently, I watched this whole 3-minute video where they talk about it. Apparently, to break it down, scientists have harvested, so did you know, John, that only 45% of the cells in your body are of human DNA? There's like all this crazy bacteria and crap that's in you that scientists aren't entirely sure what it does. So they're trying to map it.
For me, there's also a lot of cheese.
There's a lot of it's just cheese. So they've harvested these biomes from human feces. And they're having computers do analysis on it, but the computer analysis is actually pretty like spotty, so it's got a lot of like corruption and things that it can't quite figure out. So apparently in Borderlands 3 there's going to be a terminal where you can play this weird mini game that isn't even really like a full mini game. You're just trying to, it looks kind of like a Bejeweled or like columns or something. You're trying to match up as many like rows and columns as you can, and what you're essentially doing is fact checking the numbers that have been run by these analysis of the poop, and then that information gets transmitted back in an open source way to scientists, who then have a better idea of like what is actually what the computer analysis has done right and what it's done wrong. Apparently you can just find this in Borderlands 3, and when you play it, you actually get I think it's the money that they give you to buy like XP boosters and like time limited stuff in Borderlands.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. That's not bad. I mean, Randy Pitchford, pay those people out of your pocket, but on the other hand, nothing wrong with a little science. I think they should bring back folding at home, right?
Yeah.
Let my PlayStation do science when it's not doing anything else. So, speaking of good causes, apparently some folks on Reddit are just giving away Final Fantasy VII to people who need it, or who would like it. There's apparently a fair amount of wholesome junk going on where people who can afford extra copies of Final Fantasy VII in the subreddit are just like, tell me why you want one, and then I will get you a key for it. So, I don't know. If you need a Final Fantasy VII key, John, maybe you should go to the subreddit and be like, I don't know. I just want to see. Resident Evil 3 is out, and that means people are doing stupid shit with it on Steam. One of the stupidest things is that they've decided to put Isabelle from Animal Crossing on top of Jill's head. So you've got a Jill Valentine with a giant Isabelle head running around blasting on zombies. I like how Isabelle has become a new violence meme in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you release your game on the same day as Doom Eternal.
I think that's what happens when everybody's at home and doesn't have anything to do but memes.
That too. That as well.
And last but not least, John, you said you wanted a Ring Fit, and you said you wanted it for some reasons, but I know that you really wanted to play Dark Souls 3 like this one guy who modded his Ring Fit and played all the way through Dark Souls 3 with the Ring Fit adventure. Who's this guy? What's his name? Super Louis 64, who has done in the past a bunch of like kind of Wii Fit controller hacks, or Wii Ring Fit controller hacks. This one apparently requires you to, do the running thing when you want to run, and you steer with the thing, and then you have to like press the ring together to attack people. And he's got a video online that as the game goes on and more bosses are beaten, he gets more and more sweaty. Until he's just basically soaked because of course
fit the Dark Souls way, man.
Yeah. And also this goes back to my whole thing where if there's a way to play Dark Souls with something stupid that you're not supposed to play it with, the internet will find a way to do it.
Yes.
So, all right, with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break, and when we come back, we're going to answer questions. So we'll see y'all in just a minute. And it's time for questions. Wait, John, are you ready for questions?
Yeah, if you hadn't, before we did the break, if you hadn't actually said, hey, and after this break we're going to do questions, I wouldn't have been ready, but I am now. You missed your chance, dude.
Son of a bitch. I thought I'd catch you off guard since we're doing this remotely, but...
No, but you gave it away. You gave it away.
I showed my hand.
My hand. Too early.
Oh, man. Well, mail@rangeselect.com is the email address to send your questions into, and our first question this week comes in from Daniel. Daniel says, hello, Jeff and John. In these dark days, I find myself seeking out things to make me happy. Cute dog videos, snappy memes, boobs, anything to break the stream of negative Nancys like a Pepsi in the desert. Ooh, desert Pepsi. So I ask you, what are your happy thoughts to keep us going? Please! Your humble servant, Daniel. What do you think, John? Do you got a lot of... Are you thinking happy thoughts right now? Are you just all smiles and thumbs up?
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm like all smiles and thumbs up, but I try to stay upbeat. I try to watch things that are positive, or I have my dog who's cute. Mm-hmm. She's a cute dog.
So you don't have to watch a video. You just look at your dog.
Yeah, exactly. And also, just to note, today, the day that we're recording this, not the day that you fine listeners are listening to it, today is the 4-year anniversary of us getting our dog. So,
there you go.
Facebook alerted me of that little factoid. We've had her for 4 years. But yeah, also, look at my wife. Mm-hmm. She's amazing. Mm-hmm. Play Animal Crossing, which is cute and relaxing, and we'll watch movies. Like we've watched a lot of, for like Amanda, we've watched like a lot of movies, like her kind of what's the word?
I don't know.
Kind of like movies that just kind of make you happy or whatever. Like for her, like we watched Grease 2 and
like comfort, like
comfort food movies.
Yeah. Okay.
So like we watched like Grease 2 and Phantom of the Paradise and I think even Conspiracy Theory was probably one of those. But like I've watched like Ghostbusters and Hudson Hawk, things like that.
So just kind of getting your media diet to something where it's not just like. You're not watching back-to-back of like Outbreak and then Contagion and then Rabid.
Yeah.
And then
no, I've actually been really excited because I don't know what happened, but within this last year, so there was a bunch of movies from my childhood that either never got put out on DVD, or they had a very limited release and they were hard to find. And if you did find them, they were super expensive. That for whatever reason have now suddenly gotten new releases on Blu-ray. And
Such
so like
as?
there's, they just announced put up a pre-order for the movie Rad.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with the movie Rad.
Yeah.
It's about a BMX biker. It's got a whole like high school gymnasium dance to send me an angel, which is it's crazy. I love this movie. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I have it on a VHS. That's not even like a VHS, like a store bought copy of the VHS. It's like a recorded copy of the VHS. So it's not even a good VHS. But it just got announced for not only Blu-ray but 4K HD DVD. 4K Ultra Blu-ray, whatever it's called.
Okay.
So like some company got the rights to do a limited run of it, and they're releasing it, and I've pre-ordered already. Also the movie No Retreat, No Surrender has a Blu-ray, which I bought recently. American Ninja 1 and 2 are on Blu-ray, and I'm going to buy them soon. I just got Hudson Hawk on Blu-ray. Like all these movies that are like, if you were, the movies from my childhood that I've either only had on VHS for whatever reason or had like on a really shitty, like no extra features DVD are now suddenly getting Blu-ray releases. And I'm like really happy about that.
I didn't realize. I've actually never seen Rad. I am a big fan of, isn't Break the Ice the
yes.
big like montage song from that?
Yes.
I love that song. I've never actually watched the movie Rad.
That the guy who actually does that song is the main composer of the movie.
Oh, okay.
So like there's like actually like 3 songs by him in the movie. There's that, Thunder in Your Heart. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, I think I talked to you when you did that, when that Blood Brothers remix where it combines all the montage songs together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like there's like 3 of the songs that are in that are from Rad. So
all right. Yeah, the Blood Bros First Blood with DSJ and DJA, which is so copyright struck that I can't even show the Patreon video anymore. That was the very first Patreon video that I ever did, where I just played Broforce. And with that going on in the background,
so those are my kind of comfort food movies. Like I said, more so American Ninja 2 than 1, but I like 1 anyways. I just think 2 is a better movie. But those are like kind of my comfort movies, like just silly, maybe a little ridiculous, not great movies, but they're just entertaining on some level.
They push the buttons in your head from when you were a kid, right? Because you saw them when you were a kid, you felt good about them, and then you watch them again, and you're like, I remember when I was a kid and I watched this and I felt good and remember good things about the world.
So, I tend to, watch stuff like that. Also, Grease 2 is way better than people give it credit for, I feel.
I don't think I've ever seen Grease 2.
It's got Michelle Pfeiffer in it.
I didn't realize that Rad had Lori Loughlin.
Yeah. She's a female professional BMX person.
Oh, there you go.
She does the bike scene with the main character where they dance with BMX bikes to Send Me an Angel. Seriously, do a YouTube search for that video. It's fucking great. It's really the best thing in the movie.
Oh, I didn't realize that the guy that directed this, Hal Needham, also did Megaforce and Cannonball Run. Wow.
Yeah.
I need to watch Rad. I think you convinced me. To go watch Rad.
Yeah, I think you can find it on YouTube through less than nefarious means.
Okay.
But apparently people are claiming, some people are claiming that it's because there was a whole rights issue about who owned the rights and no one did anything with the movie for such a long time that it entered public domain.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that's actually true, but that's what people are claiming. So you can, like I said, so it's on YouTube and it's not been taken down. So I don't think the quality of it's good.
I actually watched on YouTube. You know how YouTube has all those there's 8 of them that are good, but they have that whole library of free movies that also have ads on them, or they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Last week, I don't know why, but I looked at my YouTube feed and I was like, I don't want to watch any of these videos. I was like, what's on YouTube movies? And I looked through there and I rewatched, and I swear to God, I've seen it before. I watched the movie Penelope. Do you remember that movie?
Okay. Yeah.
Where Christina Ricci has a pig nose.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, this is whimsical and relatively charming. And if I had to pay $1 for it, I wouldn't, but I don't. So I'm going to watch it. Probably the most wholesome thing I've watched since then has been My Hero Academia Season 4 finally finished. And, Season 4 is probably the darkest of the seasons to date. But, man, the characters in that show are just so fucking good. They're just so many of them are so just earnest, and there's an arc in the back half of season 4 that just all builds up to let's all have a good time, and then they spend 3 episodes get ready to have a good time, and they have a good time, and I was just like, yay, everybody's having a good time. And of course it goes back to being all dramatic and shit, but My Hero Academia is fucking slaying it, man. I got nothing bad to say
That's
about
good.
that. Yeah.
Oh, and Clue's another one. That's another comfort movie for me.
Okay.
That movie's fucking great. Everyone in that movie, every actor in that movie is just brilliant.
I watched a thing about Clue recently. Was that on Just Right's YouTube channel, where it was the movies that inspired Knives Out? And
Yeah.
Clue, and it was
which is funny. We watched that, and I was like, all right, we got to watch Clue because he talked about it. And I actually put a couple of the movies, which that list of movies that inspired Knives Out. That's actually a list that Ryan Johnson actually gave to people. He said these are the movies that specifically inspired this movie, and then the guy from Just Rights went and watched them all and went, oh no, he blatantly took some stuff from each of these movies. But yeah, no, I love Clue. Clue's one of those movies that's just, it's like Ghostbusters for me. It's it doesn't matter how many times I watch it. I love it every time just as much, and I never get tired of it.
Cool. And then I think one of the best thing, or one of the easiest ways, Daniel, to find things that make you happy is to just be like, I'm not going to look at the news today, and I'm not going to look at Twitter either.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah.
So, another question. This one is coming in from not signed, so I'm going to call this person Nevermind. Nevermind says, hey, Jeff and John, since social distancing began, I've been trying to find the right mix of programs and games to use and play with friends. We've used Zoom and Discord to play things like Animal Crossing and Smash. What methods have you tried? Also, stream them. You know what? I actually was looking at the way that I have this whole thing jury rigged up, and I feel like I might be able to stream with another person. The problem is that I just I don't know if I'm going to be taking up too much bandwidth to be doing voice comms, also streaming the video, because the thing is that the Twitch stream has a big delay on it, because mostly for safety's sake. But I think I might be able to do that. I've actually been thinking about if it's possible, because I honestly did not think that live streaming a video game on Discord would have the low enough latency for us to do the Dojo Remoto, but it totally does, and we totally can. So, to me,
yeah. So I mean, to answer your question, Discord.
Okay. Have you done
Well,
any?
no, because that's what he's asking. He's like, what programs have you done to stream with other people? And it's like, well, not play maybe stream, but Discord has been pretty much what you have used for
this,
for doing the Dojo Remotos and
the podcast. Yeah. Have you used Zoom?
Amanda has used it. I personally have not, just because I haven't had a need to use it.
Okay.
Like, I'll be honest. I don't do many like whatever people do with Zoom. Like I haven't felt the need
type of thing.
Yeah, I haven't really done that.
Okay, fair enough.
I'll also say I'm not against the idea of it. I would totally, if there was a reason for me to do it, I would do it, but I just haven't.
Yeah, it's funny. I've been
doesn't
also
need to be a thing I need to do.
Thinking about doing it on about actually doing maybe not a live stream, but just like a group chat on Discord where everybody could turn on like webcams and stuff. Because it looks like it works relatively well, and I've already got the Discord server set up, and I've already got all the shit plugged into it. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I've done. The thing is that I think that John and I are both on the same page when I say this. You correct me if I'm wrong, John, but like neither one of us really played a lot of like games that had a multiplayer component in them to begin with. So as far as games go, it's not like I've suddenly started playing Destiny to hang out with my friends because I can't hang out with them in person, because I would never want to play Destiny multiplayer anyway, or really anything for that matter. Like I'm just not that big of a multiplayer guy. Yeah. All right, let's see. We got a big one here. This one comes in from Fabio. Fabio says, "What is up, Jeff and John? Do you guys ever wonder or try to look into the future about what the new generations of consoles might bring, like new IPs that might become the next tentpole franchise for the platform, new business strategies that once introduced, we'll wonder how did we ever get by without them, new and insane tech / accessories that might further ease our immersion. So this finally materialized in my head. Tell me if I'm weird. This is just going to be an upgrade a la PS4 Pro or Xbox One X. They'll continue doing business as usual, and in 6 or 7 years, they'll just release the final version, the last black box before PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo just go entirely digital and become certified features for whatever new type of home viewing display somebody has invented by then. Well, maybe not Nintendo. Like, imagine that wall thing from Samsung's future list of resources or of features: 16K resolution, 5G, certified PlayStation 6 compatibility, or maybe now compatible. Discuss. And then he says, P.S. I'm a longtime fan of Rage Select. It's a fan from Spill before the loading bar was a thing, and I've just been listening to your rants ever since. First time writing, though. Not proud to say this, but I haven't been a steady patron. The missus and I bought a house last year, and it needs furnishing. Yeah, dude, fucking buy furniture. Don't buy me hamburgers. You buy yourself furniture, man. Though you've been teasing me greatly by mentioning repeatedly that you did God of War Secret Sequential, and since I've recently just finished it and really enjoyed it, moved on to Horizon Zero Dawn, expenses have been lesser. The timing feels right to renew my patronage. Keep the good work, you handsome bastards. Stay safe. That's from Fabio. Just as a general thing, like I don't want anybody like skipping a meal to give me Patreon money or anything. Like,
if it's between you and Jeff, you let Jeff starve.
That's right. I'll be okay, you guys. Just like don't bust it up just to give me $5 a month or anything like that. But if you do want to, patreon.com/rage.
Yes, it's appreciated if you do, and if you don't, that's perfectly fine. We like that you just like the videos.
Yeah. Yep. So new tech. Do you think that the new consoles are going to be any different?
So I don't know. So here's something that I didn't talk to you about. That was actually, I don't know if this is this is something that everybody knew or whatever. But during that Microsoft, whatever it's called, Xbox Experience Direct, whatever.
Oh yeah,
the hell they're
they
called.
Had last week.
I always forget the Inside Xbox thing. They were talking about hard drives on it, and how if you have every game, like if it's running off the hard drive, it's like instant if it's on the hard drive, and how they also have the expansion drives. And then Major Nelson lifted one up, and it's super fucking tiny. Like it looks like the old Microsoft OG Xbox memory things. I don't know if
that's I know what you're talking about, because there's a like the old style SSDs looked like a laptop hard drive, like they were the form factor of a laptop hard drive, but the new ones look like a piece of memory. They look like just a stick of memory.
Well, it's like they're back to using proprietary encasings for it, but it literally just looks like a tiny little business card. Is about this, but I mean it's thicker obviously than a business card, but like the size of it is a business card, and I was just like, holy shit, that's fucking tiny, and it's like 2 terabytes are on it, and I'm like, holy crap, 2 terabytes. And they said that anything that's installed on those will run super fast, but then stated that you can, if you have a USB, while you won't be able to run Xbox Series X games directly off the USB, you will be able to run Xbox One and Xbox 360 games off the USB drive, which I thought was also interesting.
A lot of this goes back to that Mark Cerny thing where he talked and talked for like an hour, in that like fall asleep voice. Like the thing I think is really interesting about this generation is the hard drives, honestly the hard drive speed, because the thing is that going over to full SSDs and the speed that this is one of those things that, because I'm not a big PC hardware guy, I don't upgrade every year. Like I don't really know this, but people have talked about if you put like a fast SSD in like a PS4 Pro, like your load times just go down to very little. But the thing that I find interesting is the way that we currently still build games like they're loading off of a hard drive, like an old hard drive, like a platter hard drive, but the solid state drives have gotten so fast, and especially with this like proprietary bus that Sony is putting in there, that like they talked in that thing about not having to cache assets off of the drive because it's so fast. Like it used to be that you would pull assets off of the drive and then load them into active memory to serve up to the display, because there's like a pipeline between the data and the display, and you have to have the stuff that you need right away, like right in active memory, in order for the rendering on your TV to happen in real time, right? Or whatever, 30 frames, 60 frames per second. But like Cerny was talking about how like the drive speed on the PS5 and to a lesser extent the Xbox One X is so fast that you don't have to go to memory, that it can actually literally pull assets directly off the hard drive into like the rendering, like right up the bus, right onto your display. So he was talking about how like, he would like load a room in a previous game, and then all the assets would kind of be there, and then as your viewpoint turned, it would render each thing as necessary out of the memory, out of what was loaded into memory. Whereas now it could just yank that shit right up off the hard drive. And what that means is that there are all these tricks that developers have had to been doing for years to hide this stuff, because there was no way around it, right? But the idea of being able to pull environments up in real time off of the hard drive as needed, and you think about the difference between how much you can cache into, say, 4 gigabytes of memory and how much you can have on, say, 100 gigabyte installed video game. Well, you're talking about having access to a lot more information that you can pull up to the screen faster. Like, I think that a lot of people don't. I think that a lot of people are underestimating what this whole loading quickly off the hard drive thing is going to be like.
Yeah, and what I was getting at is that I think, as far as the tech and accessories that go for this next generation, I think where you're going to see the innovations and where you're going to see how did we ever live without that is going to be the hard drives. I think, because they're focusing on getting the data off the hard drive so fast that, like you said, it doesn't need to pull information from or doesn't need to cache information in the memory, and doesn't need to it's just and it cuts down on a lot of other processes that would have to be done to kind of prepare for that load from the hard drive to whatever. And on top of that, making sure that the hard drives are large enough so that you never have to uninstall anything. Because that was something that they talked about in the Microsoft thing, is that not only do they have, I think it's like the Series X is going to have like a 1 or 2 terabyte hard drive, like default in it. Mm-hmm. And then like you can buy like these expansion drives, which are either 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte, and they're literally just plug and play. Mm-hmm. Like you just plug it in, whatever's installed immediately works. You pop it out, pop a different one in, like just like you would a USB key on a computer. And I think that is going to be I think that's going to be one of those things that you don't think about until we get like 2 generations away, and we're like, yeah, no, that's standard thing, and it didn't happen until Xbox One Series X and PlayStation 5. Like everything before that seems so archaic. I think that's going to be like the equivalent of going from the N64 cartridge base to, a CD. It's that whole, like, we're just like, oh my God, it's so crazy that we lived like this.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of it, and the other thing I think is really interesting about it is that if this becomes the standard, right, for games, then I feel like that you're going to see the PC gaming, like, programming methodology change along with this, because they're on a similar footing, right? Like, nobody on the PC is going to allow consoles to be more powerful than a PC. No PC gamer is going to do that. They're going to get out there and they're going to buy themselves a drive that's 8 times as fast as the one in the PlayStation. But I think that it'll be interesting to see if there is a shift, because it's so weird that like that hard drive speed thing, I feel like we've only just got there. Like we've been dealing with hard drives for a long time, and the buses have gotten faster, but what that's generally meant is that games are always programmed the same way. It's just this system of hardware loads it faster than this system of hardware, but they're still all doing the same thing. It's just one of them does it faster. And the idea of transitioning from that to real-time accessing, like you mentioned, being able to free up caching in the accessible memory to be able to do more things with the memory that you have is also a byproduct of this. That could mean better AI. It could mean all kinds of different stuff. It could just mean that you have more hardware to work with, because again, I'm not really sure. I don't even really know exactly what I'm talking about, but like I've read some articles about like, what does it take to render a game at 60 frames per second? Like, what do you have to do to render out 60 individual frames of a video game every single second and keep that running and never let it drop? And like, there's some shit that you've got to there's a lot of tricks that developers have that I feel like it's going to be interesting to see what happens when they don't have to do those tricks anymore. What happens when they can just, do.
And what new tricks will they develop because of it?
Yeah, exactly. So it's possible that you might be looking at something really interesting, or it's possible they might just say, oh, okay, super fast hard drive. We're just going to keep doing everything the way we've always done it, and we're just going to have a super fast hard drive. But like that speed also bodes well, in my opinion, for, and we don't even know if this is going to be a thing or when or where or how or why, but like having that pipeline be that fast means that you might be able to do more with like VR, because VR requires like a super high refresh rate, right?
Yeah.
So if you could do a super high refresh rate and get more data through that pipeline, then that means that you could make VR games that had like a higher level of fidelity. Like, I mean, I've seen some VR games that are good looking, but I feel like we've never had like a really, really gritty, immersive, full VR. I mean, RE7 maybe is about as close as we got, but I don't know. I like the way that Alex looks, but it doesn't exactly look like. I don't look at the graphics in Alex and go like, "Oh my god, so
realistic." No, you don't. But no. And as far as like new IPs, oh god, I don't know. Maybe that's always something that's hard to predict, because I mean, obviously, if it's a new IP, it's something somebody hasn't made yet. But if you're going like what games from this generation that have only released one version that could become the new big IP, what is it? The Senua's Sacrifice or whatever the heck it's called.
Hellblade.
Hellblade. Like it's very possible that Microsoft might be trying to build that as their next big like franchise, or one of their big franchises. I could see that becoming a thing depending on where the sequel to that goes. Obviously the Spider-Man games, if they're continuing the Spider-Man games, I think are going to be just as big of a, if not bigger, franchise than the Batman Arkham games. But yeah, as far as like other new stuff, I don't even know.
It's impossible to predict, right? Like if you could predict it, then like you think about the world before they announced No Man's Sky, and you could never have been like, I bet there'll be a big open world game. I mean, like there'll be open world games, there'll be horror games, there'll be sandbox games, there'll be survival games. I mean, I think we're going to have a lot of the stuff that we've had now, but if it was possible to come up with a better idea than what video games are right now, I'd make that motherfucking game myself and make a gajillion dollars.
I mean, I would love it if the Cyberpunk game became a franchise unto itself, kind of like The Witcher, where they improve upon it with multiple iterations and things like that. Like that could also be fucking great.
I'm looking at the next question. It has the word in it. I'm just going to say, bring back Syndicate. More Syndicate. I want more Syndicate games. Not Assassin's Creed Syndicate, like Syndicate.
Yeah.
All right. Ryan writes in.
Actually, one last game.
Yes.
I think one game that I think that I really want to see, and I know they're just going to fuck it up because I've heard that it's in development, and I know they're going to fuck it up because they haven't done a good one in forever. I want a good Tony Hawk game, goddammit. I
say to thee, good luck, sir.
Yeah, the last good one I think was Tony Hawk Underground, and then after that it just kind of went to garbage.
Should we do a live stream where I order you a copy of that dumb skateboard peripheral that they made?
Oh, Ride?
Yeah, you play Tony Hawk the Ride, and then that Shaun White game also that used it.
No, never.
Remember when Shaun White was at E3? It was pretty weird. It was pretty weird.
And he had his skateboarding game where you brought color back to the world.
Yep, it was weird. Almost as weird as Mark Echo's Getting Up Under Pressure.
Strangely enough, not a bad game.
Okay.
That was actually I don't think it was like a game that like breaks the, like it's just like this total amazing game, but I feel like it is a bit better than people give it credit for, but it's also kind of like, why?
All right, let's see. Ryan writes in and says, Dear Jeff and John, have you ever played a game that was so bad in terms of gameplay, story, or graphics that you personally say it's not canon to the series/franchise? I've experienced this recently while replaying all the Assassin's Creed titles during the lockdown. Playing Assassin's Creed 1, 2, 3, 4, and Rogue was a great experience. Returned to memory lane. Once I started replaying Unity, Syndicate, Origins, and Odyssey, I felt things started to go downhill. I felt the overall quality of the series was going downhill to a multiple of things. Subconsciously, it seems I've exercised the latter games for my own views on the series. Personally, believing the series ended with 4 and Rogue. What do you think? Are there any examples of you regarding things as non-canon?
So there was one game I didn't recognize in there, something called Unity. That's the engine the games are made in, right?
No.
Is that an actual game?
Yeah, that's the one.
When did that?
Yeah, you can't have girls in it because
I've never heard of it.
It's too hard to put girls in an Assassin's Creed game. That's why you can't have them in there.
I've never heard of that one ever. Yeah. Like it doesn't exist. I don't believe it. I'm doing a Google search on my computer and I can't find anything about a Assassin's Creed Unity.
No, don't search for it. You'll see that Inside Out face.
Actually, funny enough, Unity is the only Assassin's Creed game I've never played.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you did a good job. You did a good job there. You dodged a bullet. I don't know. I mean, I kind of love all my ugly gaming children. I mean, I didn't like certain games, but I don't think I've ever just been like, nope, didn't happen. Plus, with Assassin's Creed, It's like once you get to the end of 3,
yeah,
then it's like, those are just individual stories at that point, right? So,
yeah, and also 2 has 3 different games unto itself as well. So it's like 1, 2, 2, and then 2 again, and then 3.
Yep. And then there's the 3 spinoff with Avalon.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, I as far as games that I don't consider canon, I'm a huge fan of Dead Space. I really like Dead Space. They have made some goddamn atrocious Xbox Live. There's like a Xbox Live arcade puzzle game that takes place in the Dead Space universe. I can't remember what it's called.
it.
It's a garbage game. It is fucking terrible. But you know what? It actually has some interesting lore things in it. So, I mean, I tend to, even if I don't like a game, I tend to find something worth its merit. And 9 times out of 10, interesting lore helps. But I can't think of anything where I'm just like, nope, game doesn't exist. Unless, you know, it's a situation where like the developers like came right out and said, no, that game, we ignore that one.
Yeah, I mean, like, I didn't like Gat Out of Hell, but I still admit that, I mean, I don't know. I guess the thing is that I don't see any real merit personally in, I mean, and this is, I'm not judging or anything, but like for me, the fact that maybe this goes back to one of those things that I talk about from time to time where it's like, I mean, I've played so many fucking games in my lifetime that like sometimes a franchise has a bad entry. And so you just go, yeah, that one, whatever. You know, and move on with your life, that I don't need to be like, no, I refuse. It never was a thing. Because it's not my story. It's not my game to play. I mean, hell, I love Watch Dogs 2. I fucking hate Watch Dogs 1. Like, I think Watch Dogs 1 is boring and stupid and kind of not very fun to play. But Watch Dogs 2, I fucking love Watch Dogs 2. But it doesn't, I mean, like, I don't know. I guess the whole thing is the idea of disavowing a game. That just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I mean, it's still there. So I don't know. Sorry, Ryan. All right, let's do some Discord questions.
Ooh, Discord questions.
And let's see. Now you get to see a Discord streaming window inside of a Discord streaming window inside of a Discord streaming window. Let's see. We did some of these last week. And let's pick up with Commissar GT. Says, hey, Rage staff, recently my employer informed us that we would all have to start working 10-hour shifts starting at 5:30 a.m. Oh, God. My first thought was that this was going to sap my will to live or to keep working on my own projects. I'm somewhat new to your content, but I understand you used to be an animator. What made you decide to take the risk to quit your normie job and become self-sufficient? What advice do you have in breaking out into being self-sufficient? And what are your biggest concerns in keeping afloat? I can't see myself quitting now because of the pandemic, but I know that I can't be a wage slave forever. Thanks, and that's from GT.
Well, I can say I am not the person to ask because I still have a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah, my path in this is, I'll be real honest, I had a lot of support. My parents, basically, I used to work the wage slave jobs, and then I was starting to get real messed up doing that, and I said I wanted to go to school. My parents had offered to let me go to college for a while, to pay my way because they had saved up for that. And basically what I did was I made a deal with my dad where I worked part-time, and then I went to college part-time, and I did animation part-time in college, and then I did I just worked part-time, and then my parents made up the difference in what I needed for my rent every month. So I had a lot of support in that. And then the contacts that I made when I was in animation school were what allowed me to if Commissar GT, if you're new to the content thing, you probably don't know that, like, I left animation school and started working for spill.com, where I was like, you know, I had like a paycheck from a big company. I was a full-time employee. Like, I had expense reports. Like, it was a full corporation. I wasn't like doing animation for a YouTube channel. It was like I was an employee of a company. So that was a really stable job security. It was basically just moving from, actually, it was more stable than what I was doing before, because I was moving from a part-time job to working for a full-on company. You know, I had health benefits. I had medical and dental and optical and all that shit. Like, I had a 401k, and, you know, they were a full-on company, and Spill had been around for a long time. So it was an easy transition, and it was a very stable job up until the point where it wasn't. And then that was really maybe my big turning point, was when Jason and I parted ways with Hollywood.com. Like, we just were like, well, let's just do this shit on our own and see if it works. And again, I'm in a position where I had some financial backing from my folks to be able to, for the first like month, and it wasn't like, it wasn't like mommy and daddy were writing me checks. It was more like I kind of had just a little bit of financial assistance the first month we started Rage Select, and when it became clear that I wasn't going to be able to monetize the YouTube videos and make $1 jillion from doing that, it was like, oh, I got to do something. And then one of the guys that helped me start Rage Select was like, you should check out this new thing called Patreon. And I was like, maybe I should. And then I did, and then it did, and that's what happened, and donezo. But I always like to say, Commissar GT, that like, I'm not really a good person to ask this question because I kind of fell ass backwards into a lot of the places where I am. Like, I didn't start a YouTube channel from scratch and then like built up a following over the course of 5 years until I could finally quit my day job. I went from one job to being self-employed, and I'm so lucky that all the people that have contributed to Rage Select over the years, both the co-hosts and the people that watch, the people that give money on Patreon, it has been an incredibly lucky thing that we were able to go through that whole process. So I don't know that I have a point of view that really lines up with outside of like if you're in a position where you're not, when I started going to college, I wasn't married, I was single. I didn't even have a dog at that point. Like, I kind of didn't have anything to lose. That was kind of the big thing, was that I was able to just say, you know what, I'm going to try to go to college. I'm going to try to become an art major, even though I've been told that you can't make any money doing that. And if I fail, I can always go back to doing technical support because somebody's always going to need their computer fixed. So that was kind of the thought that I had, was that even if I try it and I fail, that's what, a year, 2 years, that I messed up. And then I can just go back to doing the thing that I did before. But fortunately, it didn't fail. So that's where we are today. Though I will say that, again, I came into Rage Select is almost 7. We're coming up on our 7th anniversary. I came into YouTube when Let's Plays were still moderately successful, but these days, boy, it's hard like to break into just doing straight Let's Plays. I don't think you can anymore, or I don't know, maybe you can, and I'm just not the guy to do it. But like a lot of the channels that I see that are successful are the ones that do a specific thing, like they're just a Kerbal Space Program channel, or they're just a Minecraft channel, or they're just this channel, or sometimes you'll have channels that alternate between like video essays and then like some kind of other Let's Play content, like Jim Sterling or Angry Joe or stuff like that. But a lot of those people, they started back when it was a lot easier to do this. And the YouTube, I don't like to get all like, the algorithm, but like the algorithm is not as kind as it used to be to video game content on YouTube, just in general. I don't know. Anything you have to add to that, John?
No, because I like I said, I still work a 9-to-5 job. I am not. I have not dived into trying to do something on my own, and yeah, I've got nothing to add.
Okay, I guess the basic answer for what made you decide to take the risk to quit your normie job, become self-sufficient, was that I was ready to jump out of a window because I was so dissatisfied with my job. Like I worked a grindy job for years, and then I kind of got to the point where I just couldn't take it anymore. So, let's see. Mike writes in and says, greetings from the absolutely deserted deli department of a Sobeys grocery store. What's a Sobeys? Do you know what Sobeys is, John?
Nope. Okay. It's probably a regional thing.
I've got 2 questions, one of which is, of course, a virus question. What is the strangest thing that you've seen someone panic buying or be completely sold out in stores? I watched a new age hippie-looking woman buy up every container of roast garlic hummus we had last week when she felt she needed... Why she felt she needed 13 pounds of garlic hummus will be a mystery to me. Second question, which older games do you think have aged the best, be it in terms of visuals or mechanics? I've been going through some of my PS2 library during the lockdown. Have an excellent day. And that's from Mike. You've braved a few trips out to the grocery store, right, John?
Yeah, like 2 or 3. I've gone and gotten groceries because I have to go get groceries every now and then.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen anything
I
weird?
don't think I've seen any people like crazy buying a bunch of stuff, especially because the grocery stores that I go to, which we have are HEB, they limit what you can buy, so you can't like go in and buy like 20 of random item. Like it's like, no, you get at most 8 of these. Like I think that's the largest quantity of any item that you could buy in the store was 8. And it wasn't even everything. Like you like most things, it was like you can get 4 of these, or you can get 2 of these, or you can get. But so I don't think I've seen anyone like panic buying. The first time I went to the grocery store, right as the everything was ramping up, I did think it was funny walking over to the pasta aisle and just people just like freaking out over the fact that there was nothing. Like just being like, why are the shelves the shelves are empty, like what am I gonna, what I is this a joke, what's going, just kind of just freaking the fuck out. It's kind of humorous, and then there's a couple people that are like, wow, I heard about it but I didn't think it, this is crazy. Kind of thing. And like I think the last time I went to the grocery store, like they had some like pasta noodles, but still like no ramen or very little of canned foods and things like that. Like certain things were just completely gone and not coming back anytime soon, and certain things were like slowly restocking. The toilet paper and paper towel and tissue aisles are barren, as always, have just been continually barren forever.
I've said it before, but I'll say it again. I don't understand that. I do not understand the toilet paper panic buying, because it's not a pooping thing. You don't poop yourself crazy when you got it. Like, I don't know.
Well, it's I don't think it's that it's a pooping thing. I think the reason it originally happened is because people were like, "Oh, I'm going to have to be stuck in my home and not be able to leave." Well, what are the things I can't live without? And they went, toilet paper to wipe my butt. So I'm going to buy enough toilet paper so I don't have to leave to go worry about buying toilet paper ever again during this whole pandemic.
Yeah.
And then we weren't prepared for that. We don't have the stock of toilet paper for everyone to buy 12 months worth of toilet paper all at once.
Yeah.
And I honestly think that was it. And I think people have overblown it. I think people have overreacted to it, because then it started being like, oh, well, people are mass buying toilet paper because they're worried about being home with no toilet paper. Well, now other people are like, well, shit, I didn't buy any toilet paper. I better buy some before I run out.
Yeah. It's a chain reaction.
Yeah, it's a chain reaction. It's kind of like, what was it a few years ago? We had a thing where on the internet it said that there was a gas shortage in Texas.
Oh yeah,
but there wasn't.
Yeah,
But because that news had gotten out, everyone panicked and ran to the gas station and got gas.
Yep.
And so many people went and got gas on the same day that it caused an actual gas shortage.
Yep. I remember that. That was stupid. That was really, really stupid.
And it's literally just a chain reaction. Someone said, "Oh, there's limited quantities of this because of this," and then everyone panicked and went, "Well, I got to make sure I get mine." And
yeah, I went to the first time that I went to the store right before, because I've only gone to the store twice since this all started going crazy, and because I'm really good at making my food stretch. But the first time that I went, it was like, before the lockdown, I'll go to the store at like 11 o'clock at night, and nobody will, everyone will already be gone, and they'll be restocking the shelves, and I'll just get whatever I want to. My whole thing was that I was more fascinated with what was left.
Yeah, that too.
Than what was there. Like the fact that the canned goods aisle was like cleaned out except for like black beans and like lima beans, and then like roasted or like tomatoes, like canned tomatoes. And I was like, in the rice aisle, all the rice was gone except for arborio. There was a bunch of arborio, and I was like,
even going back to the pasta thing, where the pasta aisle, like all the pasta was gone except for the Hormel Completes microwave stuff. Like literally, that was fully stocked for a solid like week and a half, where everything else on that aisle was gone.
What's a Hormel Completes?
So it's a little microwave dish Like it's just one of those instant meals. It's Hormel, the company that makes them. They're called Completes, and they have like different stuff. Like they have like chicken and dumplings and beef stroganoff and other types of like stuff. You just put it in, and it's like mostly preservatives that keep meat and like noodles like preserved when they're not microwaved.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get them, they taste gross. And they all taste the same. Like you're literally getting something that's supposed to be chicken and dumplings, and then you're getting something that's like hamburger meat and like it's like carrots and green beans and mashed potatoes and just like whatever. And they taste exactly the same. They're fucking disgusting.
I remember when I went that all the meat was gone except for the veggie, the Impossible or Incredible meats or whatever the
Beyond Meat.
Beyond Meats, yeah. Beyond Meats were still there. And chicken feet. And I was very close to being like, never had chicken feet, but I'd try those chicken feet. I don't care. I'll eat whatever. What have you been eating these days?
I mean, this last time, like previously, like that first week, like, cause literally there was nothing to buy. It was like, just, we had, I would buy literally lasagna noodles cause that was all that was left. So that we could make pasta.
Okay.
So we would just break up the lasagna noodles into smaller chunks and then cook them like pasta. And then, hey, we've got pasta. It's like that
deconstructed lasagna.
Yeah. But it was like we get that, and we'd buy it like you said. It's also kind of funny what's there and what's not. Like we'd buy like a lot of those Totino's pizzas, and because I love Totino's pizzas.
You're the only one. You're the only one.
Clearly, I fucking love them. A lot of people I know are like, "Oh, that's good hangover food," and I'm like, I don't fucking care. I don't drink. I just like them normally. And then people look at me like with this horror look on their face, like, "What? No, you only eat that when you're drunk and have a hangover." And it's like, no, it's fine, normal. But and then like cereal and Pop-Tarts and maybe some like various canned food items. And then, I was lucky enough that there were like a few like instant mac and cheese bowls like that you microwave. So I grabbed a couple of those and like canned SpaghettiOs and like, just kind of, sandwiches. I was able to get, the HEB while at its craziest still had bread, and I had to get the deli meat instead of the normal lunch meat that I buy, and it was fine. So, I mean, like it wasn't too bad. Now, this most recent trip that we did, they're a little bit more stock. So we've been able to get like, some, hamburger helper stuff. We bought we're able to buy some ground beef, and also made a pot roast and nachos and a few other things like that.
Wow.
So
I still just stocked up on like stuff that will last for a long time. So I'm still doing like rice and beans and stuff like that. I mean, we need to go back to the store, but the other problem is that I don't like to go to the store when there are people there, and people.
Yeah, now I think the HEB by us closes at 8.
Yes, so I can't even go at 11 anymore when there's no people there.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like the first 2 times that I went, like I'd heard stories of them making people wait outside, but like when I went, like they weren't doing that. And then this most recent time that I went, they totally were doing that, and it was like 7 p.m. Like it was like 6-7 p.m. and like they were totally like you had to line up, and then they would let like 5 people in. Like they would let like 10 people leave, and then 5 people would get to go in, and then another 10 people would leave, and then 5 people would get to go in.
Yep. I when I went there, it was at 10 o'clock in the morning, and our HEB has technically they have a door you're supposed to go in and a door you're supposed to go out, but I always go in the outdoor. And when I tried to go in, they were like, and they kind of like pointed me down the road, and I was just like, oh shit, there's a line to get in the grocery store. I'm gonna buy so much. I'm gonna be part of the problem.
It was funny because standing in line, we were the last time we were like the second people in line because we just happened to get there at the right time, I guess. And it was funny because there were so many people that would get out and start walking down, and then they slowly dawn on them that there's a line, and you just see them immediately kind of slowly turn around, walk to their car, and drive off.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Well, we had a whole other question here. Which older games do you think have aged the best, be it in terms of visuals or mechanics? I would say there's some developers that have a really solid art style.
Yeah.
Here's a spoiler alert, but like Michael and I got tired of playing random games. We need a new sequential, so we just started playing BioShock, the BioShock collection BioShock on the Xbox.
Nice.
That game, like, not a lot of work has been done to that game, but fuck, does it hold up? Like, I know it's a 360 game, but like, still, mechanically, the way that it feels, the atmosphere, the sound in that game is so good, and like, I think that game holds up incredibly well over time.
Yeah. I mean, I can't really think of like what games hold up because there's a lot of games I haven't played in a while. Mm-hmm. I do know that I did bust out a bunch of old games. It was sad to me because I was going to play my OG Xbox, and I was going to play a bunch of games for that, and only to find out that the power supply on my OG Xbox apparently died at some point, and I didn't know.
Oh no!
So I can't play. And then I was like, okay, well, this is before the quarantine, the stay in place quarantine thing had happened. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just call the retro game store that we have to see if it's something that either A, they can fix, or B, if I can maybe like trade it in and towards a replacement Xbox. And just pay the difference or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then I called them up and they're like, no, we sold our last one this morning and none of our other stores have them. And we're shutting down tonight and not going to be open until this whole thing blows over. Sorry, dude. I was just like, son of a bitch. So I can't even get a replacement goddamn Xbox for my to play my games. I really wanted to play Def Jam. Def Jam Fight for New York.
Wow.
But instead, I've been playing games like I busted out my Dreamcast and started playing. Like I even streamed a few of them. Like I played the Berserk, sort of Berserk, Guts' Rage. I played that one day, and then I've been playing some old wrestling games. Most of them are kind of garbage, except for the N64 ones. Those are always good, no matter what. Even if they don't look great visually, they play superb.
I'm trying to think from the PS2 era. I know it's just such a Jeff cliche, but like, those Metal Gear games they put in the Metal Gear HD collection, those things really do hold up really well as PS2. A lot of PS2 stuff does hold up though, right? Like, I mean,
yeah.
PS2 was pretty refined for the time. Like, I feel like when you get back to PS1, it's harder, but like the PS2, a lot of stuff holds up from that platform.
I feel like you could say that for PS2, some OG Xbox games, and then a lot of the Xbox 360 games. I feel like also still really hold up.
I think last generation is still. I mean, you see the number of games for the last generation that have been released on this generation. Like,
yeah,
I think that those games totally hold up. And in fact, I don't even think the game design has changed in a really significant way between the PS3, Xbox 360 era and the PS4, Xbox One era all that much.
What was I going to say? There was something I was going to bring up. Oh, did you see that? I know what I was going to bring up. This is a little bit of a tangent, and I apologize. It's because you brought up Metal Gear Solid. Kotaku had like a retrospective on Metal Gear Solid 2.
Oh, yeah, I started reading it.
Did you read that?
I read
that was actually
bit
really interesting because there was a lot of things because for those who are not aware, I never played prior to us playing it on Patreon. I never had played Metal Gear Solid, the first one. I knew of it. I had seen trailers and clips and things like that, but I never played it until Jeff and I played it on the Patreon, in which I played the game the entire way through. But my first Metal Gear game was Metal Gear Solid 2. Mm-hmm. So a lot of that stuff, while I understood some of the reasons people hated Raiden, or Raiden, or however the fuck you want to pronounce it. While I understood a lot of the reasons why people hated it, it didn't click to me exactly why. And the article did such a good way of explaining why. Like, the character was almost designed to make you hate him.
It was a troll.
Because he was supposed to be you, the player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it was just like, and I was just like, holy shit, that's fucking way to go, Kojima.
Yeah, like Raiden trained to be a soldier by playing Snake's VR missions. He literally played Metal Gear Solid VR missions to become the badass super soldier. The whole game is a troll. The whole game is a gigantic troll from beginning to end. And I think that we're very lucky that apparently, see, MGS3 is probably my favorite of the franchise, but I respect MGS2. I respect it quite a bit. It's not a game that I play very often when I want to play a Metal Gear game, but I respect what was done in that game because, yeah, it's fucking insane. And I could definitely see if you never played the first one. The main thing is, going back to the first one, is that just like, I don't think that a lot of people remember how the first one was just visually different than anything that had come before it. Like, it had all the like cinematic camera angles, this kind of like dramatic over the top story and shit. Like, I don't know. You know, what would you compare it to? Like FMV movies that were trying, Wing Commander 3, Wing Commander 4. Yeah. All right, let's see. I think we got time for one more. Interslicey writes in and says, "Hey, Jeff and John, I've started working from home, and since the man can't tell me not to anymore, I've decided to start growing a beard for the first time. Any tips for getting tough with the scruff?" Interslicey. And he says, "Thanks for the keep the content and the smiles coming. You're welcome."
I'm also going to be like, even though I occasionally have a beard, I'm the type of person that doesn't actually do anything to keep up that beard, and I grow it until I can't stand it no more, and then I just shave the entire thing off and start the whole process over again. Yep. So I am not the person to talk about growing a beard. And what's funny is, for me, it's less the beard part and more the mustache part. Once the mustache gets to a certain point, I can't do it anymore.
You can just trim the mustache, you know.
I know it's got to all go.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's got to all go.
So I don't know if this is what you're talking about, Interslicey, but there's really only one hard part to growing a beard. It's that part when it all gets pointy and scratchy and it just itches for a while. And my tip is, don't shave, and then it'll stop doing that, and then you'll have a beard.
But,
like,
I mean, as far as other stuff, I mean, you know, obviously comb it. Like I don't do that. There was a period of time where I grew like a really long beard, where, you know, you get your own, get a separate comb, not your hair comb, but a separate comb just for the beard, a beard comb, if you will, mustache comb, and just kind of, you know, comb it regularly. You know, obviously there's care products to make it feel softer and, you know, to actually make it a little bit more like bearable.
Smell nice and shit.
Yeah, smell nice and nice, you know, bearable and stuff like that. And that stuff, that's fine. Even when I had my beard really long, I didn't do that. I didn't do any of that. I just had, the biggest thing for me was to make sure that it was combed so that there were no tangles. You know, and then obviously you can use shampoo on your beard, or you can use regular soap, you know, whatever you use to wash your face. That's fine too, as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, like I said, I mean, there is a point where once you get it to a certain length, it stops being as much of a hassle. Like, there's a point where it's like, oh, it's really annoying to have right now. And then after it grows a little bit longer, that goes away.
That's true. That's true.
So like Jeff said, the biggest thing is just to, no matter how much you may want to, if your goal is to have a long beard, no matter how much you want to, don't shave it off.
Yep. That's just tip number one for having a beard. Don't shave off your beard. If you'd like a beard, don't shave. The end. Yeah, that's pretty. I don't do any of that. I don't even do this. I don't comb it. I don't like shampoo it. I just put bar soap on it. The thing that is probably works pretty well for me, my beard's actually pretty coarse, but the thing that works pretty well for me is that since I keep it pretty short, it means that I just buzz the top parts off every so often, and it's relatively bearable. Like the neck is really the worst part for me, is because I get that neck beard shit going on if I don't shave, and that's more irritating to me than anything that happens on the actual beard on my actual face. So
yeah, see, for me, it's that my hair is curly, and my mustache hairs curl up and go in my nose.
Yeah.
And it's literally, and then like, because I also have allergies, so when my nose is all like allergies and like runny and stuff like that, and I have the beard hair flipping up into my nose, my mustache hair, that's usually when I'd shave.
Okay.
Because it's like, nope, I can't deal with this anymore. It's got to go. It's got to go.
Have you tried waxing, John? You could wax it up on the sides. Then you could get
talk to Grant Davis about that, not me.
No? Okay. All right, well, that's our show. First time in a long time we've done a remote show. John, thank you for being part of this prototype week of the Dojo Remoto, even though this isn't the dojo. The podcaster remaster.
Podcasto remoto.
Yeah, well, we come up with different names for stuff. Yeah, so we're going to be doing the kind of this style for the time being. Just as a very brief outro here. You guys all, like fucking try to stay safe. Try to do. I know it's not like people say that. It's not like I don't feel like anybody that's listening to Rage Select is out there fucking like running up to people and coughing in their face or like licking Amazon packages or anything.
Practice your social distancing. Wash your hands. If you have a face mask, wear a face mask. If you don't, at least try to keep your 6 feet apart from people. Try not to go out as much as possible. If you have to go out, try to go out at least once. If you have to, make it like one trip to do whatever you're going to do.
Yep.
But try to limit the issues as much as possible until this whole thing blows over.
Mm-hmm. And treat yourself when you can, because we're all under a lot of stress right now. So, give yourself a break.
If you can, you may be like worrying about money or something like that. I say try to save up, what the money you need to take care of everything if you can. And then, put a little bit aside to maybe buy a movie through streaming, or buy a cheap video game, or buy something on Amazon that you can have delivered to you, and then tell it to do the thing where if you delay your shipment, you get like $3 of digital Amazon credit that you can put towards a movie.
Yeah, you can buy Rad digitally on Amazon.
I don't think it's available digitally on Amazon.
Son of a bitch.
Though you can get Gleaming the Cube.
Well, that's just not going to work, John. You talked about Rad. I want my Rad. Anyway, mail@rageselect.com is the email address. Send us questions. We always need questions. And with that, we'll talk to you next time. Have a wonderful day. Bye.